Right, we are live. So yesterday I tried it. Learned some more things. I've come back, trying it again. Manually installing Arc Linux on this system, where I have a 128 gig, 120 gig SSD over IDE. Of course, using some SATA to IDE bridge stuff. But yeah, we made a few mistakes. The problem that I have is I have to run the root fs on a xfs file system. I'm not comfortable running it on anything else, and working with xfs is new to me, so I wasn't aware that grub simply won't recognize it. So we are going to do something interesting. So again, I have the instructions opened up on my phone, which at this point I'm pretty sure um, that I have most of it by heart, um, because I've tried it so many times in the last few days. So there we go. Um, Right. So the first thing would be to boot from the USB drive, which is already inserted. So I just wanted to show you guys what the hard drive numeration is looks like. We have the 500 gig that currently has free BSD, but I have to recover it because I kind of overwrote the bootloader on that one. Then we have the 80 gig drive that's currently not used for another. It's saved for another project, and then I have the 120 gig SSD that is what I'm going to load Arch Linux into. So let's exit and boot from the USB drive. Now the system we are working with is a single core Pentium 4 with 2 gigs of RAM, integrated graphics, whatever the Intel family stuff or the older thing there was. Um, yeah, bunch of ATA errors, which I'm not sure why they occurred, but yeah, I'll look into it. But it doesn't seem to have an issue with the installation. Also, I won't be able to look at many comments during the stream. So we'll just wait for everything to show up. Right, we are in the live thing. So now I think the first one is to enable the network device. Now I'm using a PCI Wi-Fi adapter, 300 megabytes. Yeah, the PCI, not PCIe. So if I do IPA, I can see it's WLP1S1, and that is our Wi-Fi device. If you're using a USB Wi-Fi device or it's built into your motherboard, chances are it would require firmware. Since this one's over PCI, these models usually don't require firmware. If it requires a firmware, it will not show up in IPA, and you'll have to go through the dmessage log to see, or LSPCI to see your device. Right. So since all of that is up, I have to create a WPA conf. That means I'll have to type my password in plain text on the terminal. So I will switch the stream off for a few seconds while I type that and turn it back on when I'm done with the screen cleared out. So we are going to do WPA supplicant and then my Wi-Fi ID and then the password. So now, as a challenge, if anyone can recognize the password with just the keystrokes, um, it starts now. And then it's done. Now I have to send it to a config file. She doesn't seem to be very happy about that. Uh, oh, it should be WPA passphrase, so that's my issue. And clear. Now I can show you the guys the screen. Right, I've cleared everything out. Now to initialize the Wi-Fi, WP is supplicant b/c and then down.conf and I think I and then WLP 1s1 and DHC client and then WLP 1s1 and that should allow us to ping google.com and we are pinging Google just fine. So that is nice. Now what I have to do is to update the system clock so that Pac-Man doesn't get confused with stuff. So time date CTL set NTP true and now if I do a date that should be the current date. Now if disk L would show me our current devices. So as you can see SDC is the one I want 111. It's already formatted because I have already formatted it prior to installing stuff. The other thing I won't do is create a swap partition on an SSD. That was not very smart. So first we are going to use parted and mk label dev SDC that work and then mk label ms dos and do a yes and do a quit and then we are going to use cf disk and do dev sdc and here we are going to create a new partition. The size will be 107. No, actually 111 was fine. 110 was fine. Primary. Um, I do kind of want to Alright, so we'll have to do things a bit differently. So we create a new partition that's about 5 megabytes, right? Primary, it's VFAT. Then we create a new partition that's about uh, 111.3 or 4, just to be safe. Primary. Actually, no, we delete that. We create a new partition that's 512 megabytes. That's a boot partition, and that should be FAT32. And then we create a new partition that's whatever that's left, plus and minus 100 megabytes, so 111.2 primary. Now there's a free space down there. The problem is, let's delete this because I need free space up there, and that is deleted. So yeah, so that is what we want. We want a free space of 5 megabytes unallocated space. Then we want our boot partition, and then we want our Linux partition. Now in here I can change the type to FAT32 Win95 and make this bootable, and write the partition, and just say yes, and that's written. So we go back. Now if we take a look at fdisk L, uh, we see our start sector is a bit off, which we want. Um, and then if we just take a look at parted, and we print, so what that is what we want. We want our of about 5 megabytes space in front of our boot drive, and then about so that grub can fit in there into the MBR. That is one of the issues are there. And then we want a FAT32 boot partition because we are using XFS on the other ones. So we do a mkfs dot fat and then dev sdc. So again, we don't have an SDC1, we just have a SDC2, and then we do a XFS on SDC3, and we wait. Until then, we can go root and run dmessage here, and we can go root again and run top here, and we can go back to dmessage, and we can go back to here, which has formatted our drive as XFS. So if I do fdisk L dev sdc, you can see it's now parted SDC and P. We can see it's now XFS and FAT32, right? And if we do CF disk, it should show us the freed up space up there, 5 megabytes, and then 93 megabytes down there. That's just for, in case we have bad blocks and stuff. Now we want to mount first our root partition, that's SDC3. So mount dev slash SDC3. I think that's where we go. We have formatted it and we are going to mount it. So SDC3 goes to MNT, and then we mkdir slash MNT boot, and we are actually going to do a P there. And now we are going to mount SDC2 to boot. Now we have a boot and root partition mounted, and I'm just going to take a quick look on the stream if there's any. So yeah, again, as I questioned, why do you want an unallocated space at the beginning is to have grub installed in the MBR partition or the MBR device table area. because the way older BIOSes work is they don't boot like a particular .efi image from a FAT32 partition. They first boot from a MBR allocated space, which usually is enough for very small bootloaders. Like FreeBSD has a really tiny first stage bootloader, so it will work. But Grub is bigger, so you need 5 megabytes of unallocated space, so Grub can install itself in that space, and then you go ahead and boot from there, and then have a FAT32 partition that contains your Linux kernel and everything, so that grub doesn't have to load XFS drivers because somehow it can't and freaks out. And then once the Linux kernel is loaded, it can then load the XFS drivers and work its way from there. Um, yeah, so that's why we want the unallocated space, and that is what wrong I think happened last time. So if this boots this time, it makes it works. So now we begin the actual installation step using packstrap. So we go packstrap, oops, and mnt, and then we go base devil and multi-lib devil, and we install our base system this way. This will take a while. Once this is done, we'll be able to boot into the we will be able to see a shoot in the system, make some changes here and there, and then move out. So we'll just wait for that to finish. It shouldn't take that long since on a pretty good network, and we are running on an SSD, although that's limited to the IDE bandwidth. Alright, so the base system is installed. Now we have to start and configuring it manually. First, we need fstab configuration on there. So we do gen fstab uh, u, because we want you to have it from uuid. Sorry, mnt, that's a mount partition, and then slash mnt etc and fstab. Now if we cat that, that would go and that would show our actual fs tab. We have our root and we have our boot, so which is nice. Then we need to chroot into this, so you can go arc chroot and dash mnt, and if I go into ls boot, we can see our images which is on the boot partition. That's a FAT32 partition. Similarly, dfh would show a separate boot partition as well. So with that done, um, we can set a local time zone. So we go ln and then soft link to user user share zone info Asia Kolkata and slash etc and time zone local time. So and then localization, need to generate locales. So what we'll do is uncomment some stuff. We do have nano, I think, yeah. um, Nano etc uh, local dot gen, is it, or it's not showing up? Local dot gen, search for NUS and comment that UTF-8, that is what we want, and then run local gen and wait for it. And you can uncomment as many languages you want, maybe now, maybe later, it'll work. And once that is done, we need to add that to our locale.conf as well. Etc locale.conf and lang equal to n underscore us dot utf-8. I think that's the correct one. Yep. And exit from there, and then we can configure network. So for that, I only configure localhost. So we go nano, or if I even go IP, it should show up. That will already be set, but just to make sure, nano slash etc host name, host name, host name. That's a new one. Okay, so we'll create a new file. 127.0.0.1 is localhost, and 0.0.0.0 is localhost, and colon 1 is localhost. Like that. Root password, so PASSWD, we'll set a simple one. That's done. And now final step is to install the bootloader, which is where we got stuck last time. So we do pacman s grub. Now just to be sure that we have everything, I'm also installing htop and network manager, um, because I do like to use network manager to set up Wi-Fi instead of WPA stuff. So we'll wait for everything to be installed, should take a second. and now install it. So grub install and dev sdc and wait for it. Oh, that's taking its time, and that's done. No errors reported. Then we also need to create grub configuration. Ls, if we go into boot, you can see there is a grub folder with a grub environment file but no configuration file. So what we'll do is grub mk config, and what's it after that, and we output that to uh, boot grub and grub.cfg, and you can see it will start finding the all the images that are there, so that's good. um, and let's see if we have lost everything or anything else. All seems okay on the grub side. So technically we are good to reboot. So we just do a sync, and if it just doesn't work, I don't know what I'm going to do. But we'll exit. Before we reboot, I will see if there's anything interesting on the chat. And we can install OS Prober later. I'll just reboot. Let's see if this works. It detects grub and no such device, which is funny. Um, hmm. Let's see if it. Okay. So it's just FAT32. I'm not sure why it doesn't want to boot. File system unknown. Very odd. Okay. That doesn't look good. Also, it's only showing like 3 drives, not the other one. So let's check another thing. We might got have it wrong. Right, we do need to recover. I don't know what's happening there. There's some ATA bus error that might be preventing it, but like I don't know what's happening. Is Grub not recognizing the tries? Then that's an issue. But I've run Debian on it before and that worked fine. Or should I just install Grub 2 then, and is having Grub the issue? And have I just installed Grub Legacy? I mean, right, so let's see, ls slash dev slash disks by id, and you can just go ls. So sdc2 is what now? By part uuid, this is what we want. SDC2 apparently has a very small part uuid, which confuses me. By uuid, yeah, so now yeah, SDC3 now has a proper uuid, and so does SDC2. Now what we want to do is check if our grub installation, so we go mount dash mnt and just if sdc2 uh, and cat mnt grub and grub.cfg, do a more here. So it loads the correct stuff, like it loads mx-dos, it loads xfs. um so hd2, but the problem is that that grub was only going till hd1, so of course hd2 is not available as such. So that means the grub is not probably loading a bunch of hard drives. And is that related to the ATA error? Again HD2, HD2. Um, so that grub booting from that disk is not loading the ATA driver, which is a worry. Let me see what's going on. So not sure on that one. Oh no, all that will just go away. It's fun. Hmm, that's funny. It doesn't boot then. So it could be it's not even booting from the SSD again, and it's only booting from that from the free BSD drive I just formatted. Yeah. Well, that's a problem. So it's still not booting from the SSD. I think there's something weird about that SSD that grub didn't get written to it. Now I'm hellbound on recovering this. Okay, let's do this. Shows loss MBA boot sector. Let's see. DD DS is equal to 512. Count equals 1. IF is equal to dev slash SDC. Um, 2 def null string. So it does find grub there in a way. Maybe I can use grub emu, but the problem is grub isn't starting from that. So yep, looks like grub and hardest reader for some reason. I can see grub there, so it should be there. Then why is not booting from that? Can do one thing is install grub on SD. Let's see on the 80 gig drive. So F disk L and can install grub on the 80 gig drive, which is SDB and also SDA, and run grub config on every and each and one of them. So arc switch 3 T to dashboard root T. All right. Uh, grub install SDA SDB. Let's see if any of this works. Um, I don't think I need to update the grub config. It's already there. It knows which root drive it has to boot from. So sync exit. Let's see which one of that works. And if that's the issue, then I might need to have an external drive just for grub. This seems weird. Hmm. Yep. That didn't work. Okay, so no, the BIOS is not happy reading the other drives, I think, which is a bummer. Although, if I do install stuff like FreeBSD on that, then it will work fine because FreeBSD has a much basic bootloader. Should be able to load from that. And then I can move Arch Linux to the 500 gig drive, and that should work fine as well. Alright, so might just have to install Arch Linux all over again. I mean, I am finishing this. Instead of this drive, I now have to install Arch Linux on the 500 gig drive, just connected to the internal SATA drive because Grub seems to favor that. And hopefully that works. So that would give me a slower installation of Arch Linux, but it will work. Alright, another installation of Arch Linux, I guess. It seems more of a BIOS issue than the Arch Linux issue. I'm just saying. All that ATA error, not very happy with. But Right, round two. Hope this was. So I'm configuring Wi-Fi. I will have the screen capture off. Right, Wi-Fi is configured. Yeah, and then time. I think. No, disk L. We have the where's the 500 SDA. Okay, new 5 megabytes primary. Actually, not even empty. Anyways, new whatever this is minus 1 4 primary. Then actually not new M primary new to primary. And this one will be so. So now mkfs dot fact is to mkfs dot xt 4 because it's on a regular hard drive. SSD 3. And then okay, press swap for swap on sync. See, we have swap. Right, that's done. Mount three t sta2 strap. Three base table Right, so that's done. And then fs tab view t c fs tab done. And then share share papa. And this will take time. Done. I hope it works this time. Otherwise, this thing won't run Linux. I mean, it will. It even works. Alright, yeah, it's done. Okay, Alexander, spit it out. I'll wait. Because I'm almost about to reboot. So, Better be quick. I need to do what? You just said you also need to do, else it won't have a config to load on boot. If you are suggesting grub.cfg, I've already created that. Ah, delay industry. Right. Probably just try and reboot this time. Hopefully, second time is the charm. And yeah, it worked this time. Right. Um, right. Of course, it will boot just fine, and we can set it up. So the issue was it wasn't happy with the SATA over IDE drive. I'm not sure if it wasn't happy with the SSD specifically, or was it not happy in general with the entire state of the over ID stuff. So something happened. All right, so we log in as root, not rocked, but I don't know why it's not so. Root, and let's just go through the D message to see if everything's in order. And we don't have the 80 error anymore, which is weird. Seems to be fine. Nope, no 80 errors. 80A has initted. And wait, a bit, yeah, there we go. We have 80 errors still. Failed command read DMA, exception, which never doesn't seem to amuse me at all. Um, yeah, but it worked. Why is it called 127? Oh, is it because of the localhost file? Nano. See, host name. Uh-oh, I think it's because of this. Right, I think I might have mixed that up. That's why it's called 127. Like, who named it 127? I didn't name it 127. Um, yeah, host name should just have the the host name. So you have to move this file to um, hosts, and we can edit that, add our host name. Oops. Call it arc p4, exit, yes, enter. And now we can also have a host name that just says arc-p4. Exit, and we log in as root. Nothing. We reboot. I think the kernel is booting in quiet mode. Even the system D stuff doesn't show up, which I don't like at all. But yeah, we have arc v4 login and if we do root and so say JSARP, that logs in top or edge top since we have installed it. We are just using 106 megabytes. We barely have any stuff running. All good. We have 4 gigs of swap as well. So that's it for installing Arc for the moment. I will install other things like Sway. I want to see if I just install Sway as it is, how what all does it get. And Sway. Okay. We want the default one. We want the default one. And yes. Whoa! Okay, I haven't enabled network, so NMTY system sys, sysctl enable, was it system CTL? Enable uh, network manager. Huh? What was the command for enabling network manager? Or is it network manager in caps? That's it. That's it. And we are going to start it as well. So NMTUI, activate a connection, downstairs password should not show. That's active. Ping Google Chrome and date is okay for now, and I can install Sway now. Oh, default. I will soon do another live stream of installing FreeBSD, and literally by soon I mean like couple of minutes after it installs Sway. Also, I should let you know, I don't remember the shortcuts to i3 because I barely use it. So, good luck with that. What? What is that error? Wait, so unable to receive socket power. This is weird. Uh, does Western even work? Because it just might be a limitation of the GPU. Well, nothing. Okay, might be a limitation of the GPU. The system works though. Yeah, calling it a day, and I'll set up our clinics in my own free time. Make it usable and stuff. So I will see you all in the next one, which is going to be installing FreeBSD on that SSD and seeing if that works for us. Bye.